Hey, it's Total Meltdown 2 here. This video is about 72 Seasons versus Saint Anger, and my thoughts on which album is better. And you can probably tell by the thumbnail that I'm a big fan of Saint Anger, and I don't think it's that bad of an album. I actually really like this album. I think it's better than any of the new stuff that they've done. Well, since I like Death Magnetic, but after that, Hardwired has a few good songs, and the rest of it is not very good. The 72 Seasons, I think, is a pretty garbage album, to put it bluntly. But the reason I like Saint Anger is because, first of all, I'm a guy who's about the riffs. The riffs are always, the number one thing you look for in a metal song, and I think Saint Anger has some really excellent riffs, some really heavy riffs. I mean, the opening riff to Sweet Amber is incredible. Honestly, the main riff for Purify, even though that song gets a lot of crap, I really love that main riff. And there's also a great outro riff in that song. So, I mean, this album, Saint Anger, has lots of great riffs. They're very simple and very primitive, but they're very effective for me. They're very catchy. So even though some of those songs kind of drag on, I still enjoy those riffs, so it carries me through most of those songs. Lars's drumming is actually really good. I don't understand why his drumming gets a lot of crap on this album. This is probably one of his best drumming performances. He's very aggressive, very energetic, and even though the sound might be controversial, I mean, I didn't mind. I honestly didn't mind the drums. I mean, the same snare sound is on I Disappear, so I don't know why people love that song and not any of the songs on Saint Anger. The lyrics, there's a few parts where the lyrics get a bit cringy for me. You know, the song Saint Anger, there's some cringy stuff in there, maybe a couple of other things. But the lyrics they're more basic, they're very quirky and weird, and I kind of like that weirdness. The lyrics are sometimes hit and miss, but for the most part they hit for me because it's just different and quirky. Like there's times when that part in My World where James starts whispering and then he starts screaming and then whispering that line. I really like that part. Or in All Within My Hands, when he starts screaming kill at the end, I get a kick out of that. It's some people might be cringy, but for me, I enjoy that weird quirky stuff sometimes. And so it's definitely different. But yeah, like if I go through the track list of Saint Anger, the first song, Frantic, I enjoy this song. The main riff is great. It does this part where it slows down and goes into like a transitions into like a almost like Middle Eastern type of thing. And it alternates between that part and the heavy part, and I like that sort of thing. Then the title track, Saint Anger, I think it's good, but it's a bit too long, and I think there's some pretty bad lyrics on this one. Probably has some of the worst lyrics on the album, like, what did you say? I need my anger to be healthy. I just cringe at that part. But overall, I think the song is okay. Number 3, Some Kind of Monster. To me, a monster of a song. You got some great heavy riffs in here. And I don't mind the length of the song. There's a shorter version. I prefer the long version. Dirty Window has this kind of like, I don't know, it just reminds me of like a surf rock kind of thing, but if you did a metal version of that, like the main riff. And it also has this thing where it kind of slows down, does a clean part, and goes back into the heavy part. So it really works for this song. Number 5, Invisible Kid. This is one that I'm not like two, um, a huge fan of. I mean, it's a good song, but it's just too long. Like 8 minutes. It just seems too repetitive. But it's not a bad song. There's some good riffs in there. 6, My World is one of my favorites. It has that weird quirky part where he's whispering and then starts screaming and whispering. 7, Shoot Me Again is probably my least favorite song on the album. I mean, it kind of sucks. The riffs are not that strong. The lyrics are about the Napster scandal or whatever, so I wasn't really a fan of that. 8, Sweet Amber, another really banger song from this album. Excellent riffs, like some killer riffs. I don't understand why people wouldn't like that song. 9, Unnamed Feeling. This is like the closest thing to a ballad on the album. It's it's a very emotional song, and I enjoyed that one. Number 10, Purify. To me, like the most overhated Metallica song. I really like the song. I think it's got some strong riffs, and while the chorus is kind of silly, the Purify You and I, it doesn't ruin the song for me. I love the riffing is great. And then All in My Hands, probably my favorite song on the album, and to me, like, kind of a masterpiece. Yeah, this one is like full of raw emotion and aggression. Everything's turned up to 11. It might be repetitive for some people, but I love it all the way through. And then, of course, it has the famous "Kill, Kill, Kill" at the end of the song. Kill, 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 kill. Which I love. So that's Saint Anger. I really enjoyed the album. There's only there's only one song I dislike. A couple I think are decent, and the rest of them I think are good or fantastic songs. So I honestly, I mean, other than the production being kind of crappy, I don't see the big problem with the album. And I mean, I think some of the live in studio versions you can find on YouTube are they sound even better, a lot better than the album versions. So I've already spent 7 minutes talking about Saint Anger. I'm gonna try to make this quick about 72 Seasons and why it sucks. So first of all, it just seems stale and generic. The riffs feel generic, sometimes even random. I mean, Sick and the Dying of the Dead by Megadeth came out, I think, a little bit before that album. That just crushes that album. And the thing is, like, I felt the same thing with Hardwired. It just feels too familiar, too generic, and it's just, they took everything bad about Hardwired and amplified it. They took everything, like the bad parts of Hardwired, and amplified it, and that's the entire album. The lyrics are really weak. They're really cringe. They don't even have that fun, quirky weirdness of Saint Anger. They just suck. If Darkness Had a Sun, Here I Am, Chase That Light, like some really terrible lyrics. It's just it's too safe. Feels like they're playing it safe. They're not really going out of their comfort zone. Very uninspired. I think Metallica at this point just needs to retire. They've become parody of themselves. Now there are a couple of songs I do like from it. I think the best song on the album is Too Far Gone. It's a pretty good song, minus Kirk's terrible solos. Crown of Barbed Wire is pretty decent. Again, weak lyrics. It starts off with the lyrics, "So tight, this crown of barbed wire," and I was like, really? No. Lux Eterna, it's okay single. It's only 3 minutes long. Awful Kirk Hammett solo. I don't know why his guitar playing skills have dwindled so much over the years. And so if I run through the track list, The first title track, 72 Seasons, boring. The only thing memorable is probably the chorus. 2, Shadows Follow, one of the worst songs on the album. Very forgettable. 3, Screaming Suicide, has this odd, happy, upbeat intro to a song about suicide, and it's just a stupid song. 4, Sleepwalk My Life Away. One of the worst songs on the album. Not very memorable. You Must Burn. Don't remember anything about that, really. I think it was like a mid-tempo song. Lux Eterna's okay. Crown of Barbed Wire's decent. Chasing Light is another bad song from the album. Darkness Had a Sun. Pretty cringy song. The lyrics make no sense. I know they're trying to be like a metaphor, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Too Far Gone gets a thumbs up. I like that song a lot. Room of Mirrors. If I had to put a 4th place, Room of Mirrors would be like the 4th, but it's kind of a mediocre song. It has a cool harmony in it, but I don't know if it saves the song. I mean, Too Far Gone is a really badass harmony in that song. And then Murata might be the worst song on the album. It's long, boring. It takes forever to be over. There's not very many changes or transitions. It just plods along very slowly, and it kind of ends like where it began. So it really just didn't even go anywhere. And I know before the song came out, when people were speculating it was going to be a instrumental, like in the vein of Suicide and Redemption, which is an instrumental I really like, but it didn't turn out that way. Yeah, a lot of the songs on the album are either bad or forgettable or mediocre. There's only a few songs I think that are really had some inspiration behind them. And so, yeah, that's why I think Saint Anger is better than 72 Seasons. All right.